We call the meeting to order, 7:03. I don't see any public participation.
Wait, I think we're still not 7, are we?
We can open the meeting without our 7, we just can't make
we
any
just
votes.
can't vote on. Thank you. Got it.
Yes, we can't vote on the minutes from last month. So we'll table that and see if others join. So the next item on the agenda is to discuss ESC leadership for the coming year. So
Can we
Yep.
table that until we have a 7, because we won't vote on that either.
True, yes. Okay. See, how many more do we need? 1, 2, 4, 5. So we need 2 more. Well, I don't know if we're gonna get 2 more, so. Wait, do I count in that 7?
Of course.
Okay, then we need 1 more. It looks like Anne may not be joining. I don't know if Stefan is joining. So let's move on to the next topic, paint stewardship bill support. Tiana, you wanted to bring this forward.
Can you hear me? Cool. Okay. So there are a number of bills going on, or trying to be passed about extended producer responsibility. In other words, that folks who make things have to pay to get them recycled, disposed of, cleaned up, etc. There's one such bill in Massachusetts. And Massachusetts is surprisingly behind several of our neighbor states on some of these extended producer responsibility bills. And there's a whole lot more information on like the Mass Recycle website, and the Massachusetts Product Stewardship Council is like the body that is trying to get the stuff passed. And the big one they're like really pushing for this legislative season, is for paint. So that folks who produce and sell paint need to participate in the appropriate disposal and recycling of paint. I'm trying to find the page for it. They're trying, basically, in this legislative session, there's a bill for doing that, and they're trying to get towns and public bodies and things like that to sign on in support of that bill. Somewhere there's a great big page of all of the towns that, okay, hold on. Can I share my screen? Is that enabled? Thank you. So the Mass Product Stewardship Council has a whole set of towns and cities and boards and groups and things that have done resolutions or letters of support toward these extended product stewardship bills. And they reached out to us and asked if we would add our support. What I don't know is whether we as the ESC can do that, or if that's something that needs to come through like the town council or some more official body. So I wanted to bring it up. There are template letters we can basically crib off of any of the towns that have already done this. And here's a long list of them, but wanted to bring that up and see whether folks are interested in pursuing this, or and if anyone had insight on whether that's something that we can do, or whether
Can you scroll to the bottom? The last one on the list. So Elders Climate Action, that's a non-town.
And Green Beverly is Beverly's group. Non-town.
So is this for the endorsement of Massachusetts product stewardship legislation, or is this for the paint? Okay,
This is specifically like the template that they have is specifically about paint. Because that's one that they're actively pushing for right now.
So when I saw it on the agenda, I found this website, and so as I understand, it's basically when you buy a gallon of paint, you'd be paying a deposit. So then when you return it, that deposit goes to paying for the second life of it, right?
I
Is that
believe
what I
that's how
understand?
it's, I believe so, yeah.
And so it's just to move the legislation to require this second life collection.
I believe that well, this is just a form, that's not useful. I believe that's what they're looking to do. It sounds like we probably need to find out more about this and what specifically we want this committee to do about it, but I wanted to bring it up for folks' awareness. Yeah.
So I guess how so it impact Wakefield residents if they were to buy the paint, and then it would impact Wakefield businesses who sell paint, such as the hardware store, right?
The hardware
they-
store is probably the only place that sells paint.
so they would lose money.
No, because the idea of you're prepaying the cost for them to take it to the next life. I
Okay.
thought I saw like 75 cents per gallon.
Yeah, but they would still lose business. Doesn't mean that's the main argument against taxes in general is it reduces demand.
Although if it's at a state level, you'd have to travel out of state not to buy paint.
Right, were this to be passed at the state for the whole state, then I think it would apply to all sellers of paint in the state.
I think we probably need to learn a little bit more about this and then understand if ESC or the town needs to provide the support.
Sounds good. I will share more information and bring some back. Sorry for not being as prepared about that one.
Right. All right, so we have a quorum now. So let's go back to approval of minutes from April. Is there a motion to approve April minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Any seconds?
Second,
All right, let's go around. Tiana,
yes.
Sharon,
I wasn't in attendance, so
okay, that's fine. Robin,
Yes.
Christina, Lily,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
and Stefan.
Yes.
All right, April minutes are approved. Next item is to talk about ESC leadership for the coming year. Since we're starting a new year, we have new liaisons from other committees. We're still waiting for town council and school committee liaisons to be decided. And me and Lily have been confirmed for 3 more years on the committee. So I wanted to put forward a motion to change the leadership of ESC. Since I've been the leader for the last 2 years, I think it would make sense for somebody else to step forward and have a new voice for leading the committee, and just change it up and give someone else the experience. So I motion to have Tiana be the new leader of ESC for the coming year.
Second.
All right, so we just go around and vote now?
No, you have to offer it up to any discussion first.
Oh. Any discussion?
In case
All
anyone
right.
was wondering, I am willing.
Yeah,
That's
I
probably
was
important part of the
wondering.
discussion.
Not a surprise. All right, let's go around and vote. Tiana,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes,
Robin,
Yes,
Christina,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Stefan.
Yes.
All right. Congrats, Tiana.
Thank you. Can we make that effective after the close of this meeting?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And I also motion to keep Robin as the clerk for the coming year. Any seconds?
Second. Strong second.
Any discussion? All right, let's go around again. Tiana,
Yes.
Sharon,
yes,
Robin,
sorry, I'm still typing. Clark, yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Billy,
Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
Stefan.
Yes.
All right. Clerk is continuing to be Robin. Is there a motion for vice chair?
Oh, I move that Melissa be vice chair, unless anyone else is excited about it. I guess that could be in the discussion. I move that Melissa take on the role of vice chair.
Second,
All right. Any discussion?
I'm
All right.
assuming you're okay with that.
Yes, we've talked about it. All right, go around last time. Tiana,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes,
Robin,
yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Billy, Anne,
Yes.
Stefan.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We will have the new leadership starting next meeting and looking forward to it, having Tiana lead the way. I think it'll be a great opportunity. All right.
I did have a
Next.
question about
Yeah.
town council liaison. Is that something that we'll discuss later on in the meeting or?
Yeah, that
Yes.
hasn't been decided yet. I don't know when their next meeting is, but I haven't heard anything. It's been
They
set.
have a meeting next week and their chair is listed as an agenda item, so I think once the chair is established, then they're assigned subcommittees. But I don't think it's just necessarily in the meeting they talk about it.
Okay,
And that's just
It's-
up to them, right? We don't get to say
No.
anything about it. Figured.
And
Well,
so-
as a resident, you can always have opinions on things and share it with them.
Same goes for school committee. That hasn't been decided as far as I know. So, moving to subcommittee updates. Lily, you want to give the waste reduction update?
Sure. So in our last meeting, we were talking about organizing like a fix-it type cafe for Wakefield. I know Christina attended one in Melrose to learn a little bit about how they work, what they were doing, you know, what kind of people attended, how successful they were. So we're considering organizing something similar for us. I think the timing is still TBD, so we'll bring it up and discuss it on our call in a couple of weeks. We're also talking about organizing a sports equipment swap where people can bring in the sports equipment that their kids have grown out of or they're just done with and maybe pick up something new. Again, trying to figure out the best timing for that based on when we think people will be thinking about, you know, new sports seasons. We are thinking maybe sometime over the summer, we're exploring the idea of maybe asking people to donate at the upcoming Recycle Day, which is in late June, I think June 29th. And then we can do the swap a little bit later in the year, but we were thinking we'd like to have at least some items to start with at the swap, so people don't come and find empty tables, and nobody wants that. And then lastly, I think, as I said, the recycling event is coming up on the 29th. That was the rescheduled one that was supposed to be last month. We'll be there with a table. We'll have battery recycling box, and I think after that, the box is going to go to town hall, I think, until it's full. Is there anything else that I missed? I know we kind of always talk about the waste reduction stuff at school, the school food rescue and all of that, but I don't know if there were any big updates on that topic from our last meeting.
I think for the recycling day, you're also going to have the pet food bag box, pet food bag collection, right?
Yep.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Still in my basement. Happy to pass it along.
I'm sure you're ready to get rid of it. Yeah.
Robin is a diligent bringer of pet food bags, though. Every few weeks, I gotta like, Gianna, just drop some pet food bags on your steps. Get to get some bags from other folks.
Yeah, as far as the school stuff goes, I've been working with Nathaniel for the Galvin Green team. They're trying to get the recycling back up and running, probably starting in the fall. They're trying to like work out the logistics now at the end of the year and talk to the administration, facilities, all that, and see, what issues there are so it can be started in the fall. Unfortunately, Nathaniel's moving to the high school, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with the green team in the fall, so we'll see. The other thing with the sports equipment swap, we were talking about maybe having it next to the farmer's market in that
That's right.
green space there. And it seems like we can book that space based on what Ann, you were saying, that booking an event seems pretty straightforward. So yeah, I think we just need to talk about, in our committee, what makes sense for timing.
Mhm.
If we want to wait until the fall, we want to do it over the summer, if we want to, if we can, have a place to store the items if we collect them at the recycling. So
Just figuring out logistics.
yeah, I think that was it.
Mhm.
All right, community engagement.
Yeah, so it was Earth Month. We did a lot of posts and shared a lot of information and tips and things. Thank you for all the folks who sent suggested post topics and who engaged on the various Facebook posts about stuff. Generally, it was a little bit engaging, but maybe not a lot engaging, and 0 people participated in the campaign about pledging to do some single-use plastic reduction. So the good news is we didn't pre-purchase a prize for that contest. We'll try again some other time. Maybe that's just not the medium for getting folks to share what they're doing. We also enjoyed the Warrior cleanup over at the Galvin. I guess it was the weekend before last. It was a beautiful day for picking up litter, and a whole ton of people were there. We had helped promote that, and they picked up a lot of trash, so it was great. I also shared out some of the Earth Month stuff to the email list, which made me think I wanted to ask, are all y'all on the ESC announce email list, the one that Sean set up a year ago? Because anyone who isn't, if you let me know, I will add you, because I sometimes send useful things to that list, announcements about events we're doing, or just content and stuff. And occasionally I think to also send it to the members of the committee, but probably not as often. And it would be great if that list always it should include everyone in the ESC and all of the people who are excited about ESC related stuff, so that it's, that content goes to everybody. So if you're not on that, let me know and I'll add you or send you the link.
So is there a way that you can check if everybody here is on the list?
I know I'm an administrator of the list. I feel like I tried to go look at the list and it was hard to find. I know I can accept when people ask to be added to the list. I'll look into that. In other news, it's May, so happy No Mo May. I don't know if the Rotary Club is doing the signs again. We found ours in the basement and put it back out. But if you have a No Mo May sign and you want to put it out, it is May. And if you hear of them being distributed, share it around. Generally, in case folks aren't aware, we don't mow in May to give the pollinators a chance to wake up and get out of the grass and the dead leaves and things before we start mowing and rouse them. Our next exciting event is that we are tabling at Festival by the Lake, which is June 8th from 10 to 4. We've got folks signed up for various shifts. If you are not signed up to participate and you would like to, let me know. Generally, we're going to have some of our usual info, ways for people to sign up for more information, promote composting. We'll do some collecting of, feedback and input from folks, like what is hard to recycle around here? Are you composting yet? Why or why not? That sort of thing. We may want to collect batteries also there. I don't know if folks want to bring that battery collection box to that event as well, in advance of the end of June recycling event. And one idea I had for something I'm trying to push for more of is people sharing their individual stories. And I have two initiatives for that. But one suggestion I had or idea I had was that we made a set of either stickers or I was thinking button, like pins, it's a little pin, you can pin it to your backpack or your shirt or something so that they're reusable, because stickers end up in the trash real fast. That's like an ask me about my for various of the sustainability topics that people might be already doing in their lives and would be happy to share about. So ask me about my compost, ask me about my EV, so that any of the folks in the community, not just ESC members who are tabling, but anyone in the community who has an EV or has solar or whatever they are doing that is, a good sustainability initiative, can pick one of those up and wear it around. And ideally, even after the, not just for this event, but start to make that be a thing where people can see that you're someone who they can talk to about, their, for those who are EV curious or solar curious, and get some info from their neighbors.
So would you make specific pins for each topic, or would it just be like a blank thing?
I was thinking we could make them for each topic, but I was going to look into how much that would cost, and if it's a lot of those button sort of things, there's like a minimum order. So I don't know if we need 50 ask me about my solar panels buttons.
Yeah.
We only have 98 households in Wakefield with solar panels. So we could do it where it's just a blank space and you can write it in.
Yeah.
That might work. Then we could get 100 of them and people can write whichever thing they're doing.
Deanna, just a thought, just to looking ahead, but you might be able to use that info for posts in the future. Like if, for somebody, you can promote somebody and just have basic questions of, biggest surprise, biggest challenge, a tip or something. And then those individual stories can kind of reach a wider audience or something.
Yeah, and that's actually similar to sort of second idea that I had, which I think Nathaniel is going to help with, which is to do some stories like that, some I walk the talk kind of stories where we can profile people who, Melissa rides her bike to the town to do errands, and we can take a picture. Maybe it'll be a video. I told the students whatever medium you're excited about doing this in, if it's a video, if it's a little interview, if it's a slide, but we can make it in some format that we can share it out and have people share why do they do it, what's been a surprise about it, what do they like about that sort of thing, to showcase Wakefield residents, ideally not just ESC members, other Wakefield residents too, doing sustainability things. So,
Yeah, I
so yeah,
think
maybe
that'd be,
whoever picks up a button will say like, oh, and would you like to be interviewed for this thing?
yeah, I think, you know, maybe you could start that at Festival Lake, like start
Mhm.
doing some,
Recording them. Yeah.
yeah. And then posting
Yeah,
them
that'd be great.
on Facebook, and I mean, people like to watch videos, so.
That's what I hear. Cool.
So did you say that someone agreed from the email?
Yeah. So I sent an email to the students and Nathaniel said he was
Right.
interested. So he's joining our next community engagement meeting and we'll talk more about it then. So, and maybe I'll suggest that if we're going to do it at Festival by the Lake, that he'd be prepared to record some stuff then. Otherwise, we already talked about the recycling and sustainability event. And then the only other thing in the immediate upcoming is we're trying to schedule the bees person to come talk to us about bees. When you follow up on dates and availability and WCAT recording and that kind of stuff. That's it. Robin, anything else?
Yes, although it's kind of waste reduction-esque. So at the festival at the lake, we were talking about how it would be great if if we're promoting compost, can the festival like provide compost, for all the food waste, all the food goods and stuff like that. So I reached out to the organizers to say, have you thought about it? And, here is a program that you could reach out to, and they countered by saying, we have no problem with compost, but you guys would have to do it. So, and I had suggested talking to Anne and the DPW, and stuff like that, because I said the school's doing and so forth. So, just wanted to open up if people thoughts about trying to somehow make compost available at the, festival, like how would we do it? Do we feel that we have to buy an extra larger container from the compost folks for the day? How does that work? Or can we take a school one? Do we feel like we have to have someone stand there to make sure it's not misused? And just wanted to get folks' thoughts, because it was not my thought that we'd take it over. It was, as event organizers, they have to deal with waste. We'd be we would just be channeling their waste into a different stream. Wouldn't that be great for them, kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think we tried to do this at Town Day, the first Town Day. We set up recycling and compost bins there. We didn't have somebody stand by them, if I remember correctly, but I remember who took the compost after. I think it was DPW. But I think for this one, if we're going to do it on our own, we probably want somebody to stand there. And
So
we could probably just have like one big toter bin or something.
Well, so right now we don't have a lot of people volunteering for the lake, and we wouldn't necessarily have a table near the food where it'd be most likely to get used. And how does the Festival of Lakes waste get addressed to begin with? Never mind, adding a different kind of collection.
So we do have trouble if someone isn't standing near the barrels, because we get a lot of contamination in the recycling, and sometimes it ends up as trash. So I would suggest if we could do it, I'd be happy to call Black Earth. We could put a bucket out for the compost. They could pick it up from us on Thursday at Town Hall. But I do think we need to get someone to stand near there and say, please don't put it in here. Please put it in the right bin, just because I've found in the past, it all becomes trash.
Would some sort of signage work, do you think? Like if we had something made no, people are just putting it in anyway.
Yeah, we get a lot of Dunkin' Donuts cups that it's half full, or the straws, that kind of stuff. And people think they're doing the right thing, but they're not. So,
Yeah, and I think, you know, everybody should know how to recycle because it's, you know, it's offered by the town. Everybody, you know, should be recycling. Everybody is not composting in town because it's not, you know, you have to go out and pay for it yourself. So, you know, considering that education disparity, I think somebody would need to definitely stand there. Make sure that we get the right stuff in there as we did in the schools to begin with, you know.
I mean, we could put a sign near the trash saying, if you have something compostable, bring it over to the ESC table. We have a compost bin. Maybe 3 people will do it, but we could we could have a bin where we are if we think folks would use it. I also don't know how much compostable stuff will be at the festival. I'm sure not compostable to
would
go,
just
you
be
know,
food.
tableware. So just
Yeah.
be food, but you know, how much food waste
Yeah.
is there?
Well,
I don't know.
I'm thinking of the kid who eats half a hot dog, or, you know,
Yeah.
they don't want the bun, or, you know,
Sure.
it's really the waste, you know. Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's that many food vendors there though, is there?
Aside from the main organizer's food station. Cause they
Yeah, I
have a
think
grill,
That's
what
like
did
the only one usually, isn't it?
he,
I feel
so
like
it's
they have-
the TV's food tent.
I mean, the other option is to push for like 100% compostable, you know, plates and stuff, and then work with the vendors to do that. And then there's some stuff to compost at that point, right? Because if there's not a lot of options there, there's nothing to compost. I think we would be, yeah, it's like, you know, a water drop in the ocean, right? If you're picking up those 3 people's food, or it's not really the idea, right? It's more about that whole collection. So if we're not already gonna be having compostable like flatware, then I don't know how much we would collect that it would be worth the extra stress.
Since they've already made budgets and they've, you know, vendors have agreed, they didn't have the condition of the requirements of how they, you know, anything in town can't use styrofoam, but beyond that, I don't think at this point you could require them to use compostable plates and forks and stuff, because it wasn't, yeah.
More to push for, you know, the next event or the next year for the same event.
Right.
And if we want to collect, I mean, there's a couple sides of that. One is, you know, what percentage of the, again, it sounds like there's not a lot of food to begin with, so it's not a ton of vendors to say, hey, make sure you're at least using recyclable stuff. But, you know, again, I think composting, I mean, it even today, I'd say it's probably a much lower penetration rate. We have 400 Black Earth users in the town. So, and I don't think people think of composting for the most part. So, you know, if you wanted to start out with more of the education side and then push for it that way, but I think on a one-off event, it's just going to be like Anne was saying, it's going to be mostly waste anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if this year we talk with the vendors at the day, you know, like get their names and info, maybe take some pictures of what is in the trash. Like do a little like, hey, this is the makeup of the waste. So that we can push for it earlier next year. And maybe by next year we'll have more sort of momentum from the green business stuff around compostable flatware and things like that we can, you know, make more useful suggestions.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, I don't think it does any harm for us to bring along one of our household Black
Yeah.
Earth bins just to have, so that if folks are walking around with an apple core, we can welcome it. But
so,
But on the
so
other-
I'm sorry, I do have 13 gallon and liners. So we could bring a few of those if you'd like. I can bring those down and we can set them up places and see what happens, maybe with some signage, and then maybe we'll learn a lesson. Or not.
I like that
like that
experiment.
too.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
And if they had signage over them, please put these items in here. let's see how they do.
Right, we do have those signs from that we had put on the barrels at the schools. Like I can get those printed on like the stick-on things again. We could put a couple of those on there.
I mean, I think it needs to be kind of right in people's face, so you can't just like put it on the bin, it's below your eyesight. It has to be like right above the opening of the bin.
Do we want to do our own A/B testing then? Like, we could literally try a couple different types of signs and see if some of them work better than others for the next
Yeah, I
time.
like it.
Yeah, make it
I like that
experiment. Changing the outcome or the goal as being data is awesome. I think it makes it feel like we could get something from it.
I also like that we've been working really hard at composting with the elementary schools, and just that visibility of having those bins is important, I think, for the kids to at least be able to say, hey, mom and dad, maybe you don't know how to compost, but we do this at my school, and this is, you could put that in there. I just think for the kids, it's important for them to see that, whether or not we collect that much volume or not.
So I believe the DPW table is next to the WCIT food. So we would be happy to have a compost bin at our table, and we could talk it up. We could send one to your table, and then, you know, maybe one just around just to see if people can do it.
Yeah, if left to their own devices, they can figure out what to do with it.
Yes.
I think, yeah, if you have them and don't mind bringing them, I mean, worst case, they end up full of trash and we throw it away,
Correct.
right? That would have been in the trash anyhow, so.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, I think, Tiana, the only
Thanks.
thing with those signs is I think they had like the Wakefield Public School logo on them, so just probably take that out. Or you could use the Black Earth signs that they have there on their website.
do they have graphic signs or they have, I know they have one that's like a long list of like, here are 30 things that don't belong in this.
Yeah, I
bin.
think they have a graphic one.
Okay, I'll look into it. Cool.
Cool.
I think that's all from community engagement. Thank you all for all the good input.
No,
Oh,
just
nope.
put on people's calendar, so we did get a table at the farmer's market. So you can plan ahead, September 7th. So far in the future. So it's the weekend, it's a Saturday after Labor Day.
And we'll ask for volunteers a little closer to then, since it's probably a little far for anyone's planning.
All right.
But I mentioned it because someone said something about sports equipment next to the farmer's market. So if start of fall season is a good time, maybe it makes sense to do it the same. If it makes sense to have them separate, because have us at the table one week, the following week do the collection or something, you know, I just wanted to. Maybe
Yeah, I
there's a
feel like-
synergy between the two, or maybe they're separate.
Yeah, I feel like September may be too late, like they're already starting their sports in September and they already need equipment by then, I would think. That's why we're thinking like over the summer when they're just gearing up for figuring out what they need. But I mean, we can figure out what the best option is. All right, moving on to the Climate Action Plan Subcommittee, we have great news. We were awarded the DOER grant for technical assistance for the decarbonization roadmap. So congrats to everybody. Thanks to Anne for submitting it and helping us out to get it.
That's great. That was fast.
Yeah,
When did you find out?
it's like yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, very exciting. So that puts us on the hook for basically completing the Climate Leaders Program requirements within a year. And they did, Dylan from DOER said that they're just trying to figure out who the consultant is and will be assigning one to us, you know, very soon, maybe within the next week. And I did want to ask you, did you reply to Dylan on being the point person for that?
I did.
Oh, okay, great. So yeah, I think, maybe we can publicize that somehow, that we were awarded that grant, and celebrate it.
How much is the
So
grant?
I don't know, there was no dollar amount. It's basically just paying for consultants' work,
Okay.
yeah, to do the decarbonization roadmap. So very exciting, very excited to get started on that. We're also trying to work on so the decarbonization roadmap is just for municipal operations. We're also trying to put together information about the other piece of the climate plan, which would be residential and business. So the climate subcommittee is going to be gathering information from other climate plans, other municipal climate plans on those topics, and seeing what we can put together for actions for those groups, and then kind of add that to the decarbonization roadmap, which is municipal, and somehow we'll come up with a climate plan. So that is the goal, but we'll see, how much time we need to devote to the decarbonization roadmap. So to be determined what how much will have to be included on that work. So that is about it for climate action plan. Stefan, did you guys meet for green space?
Yes. Finally, success. So the focus of the meeting we had was largely about putting together direction. We talked about two particular areas where we think that we want to get involved. One was just to assess the Trail Steward program, to see if where it's at, how they're doing. So we're reaching out to the committee. The other was related to the town garden, currently over in I can never remember, JJ Round Park. And first starting with, what's the status of it, what's the participation rate, and whether or not there's any opportunity to grow the garden. The other was to actually reach out to the town gardening club, which is not really today set up as a community gardening club. It's really more, it is, but it's not really accessible to especially like working people today. But just to get some conversations started, the idea being here to increase the opportunity for people to participate in gardening, and to make it accessible. But we talked about compost a little earlier, but that topic also was a big part of this, which is, how do you increase people's use of composting, not just to, put their stuff in black earth, but literally if they wanted to compost themselves. And it's more part of the idea behind green spaces, stewarding your space and using it effectively. And then the last thing we talked about was around bat boxes. The idea to maybe put together a bat box program, maybe even as we get towards Halloween, or if there's looks like Batman Day is September 21st, but to sort of align so that we can generate some interest in helping to grow the bat population, natural insect control, and also, there's a few different bat related diseases for anybody who's familiar. But the idea here is more about a holistic view of the green spaces. And we talked about a number of other things, but those were the three primary topics around the Trail Steward, the gardening program, and the bat boxes. Next meeting is targeted for June 4th.
Cool. Who's in your committee?
Robin and Lillian.
Okay, awesome.
Robin probably brought this up because Robin brings this up all the time. But are you doing anything about like native plants and invasive species and stuff like that?
So we had talked about it, but we were looking more about things that we could actively engage on.
Mm,
So part of the idea behind that discussion with the gardening club is to see if anybody is doing that already. But that also is something we can talk about during our next meeting. How do I myself have talked with my wife about um basically moving to a, natural field look after all the time I spent trying to reclaim my yard. But the idea being that it's there's a combination of benefits, right, between native insects and, the pollinators and just actually reduction of maintenance of your property because it's actually easier. But yeah, we're again first meeting, so a long way to go.
cool. Well, if you have anything you want sort of shared out on any of that, send stuff my way for posting or emails to the list if there's stuff to promote or engage people in.
You also mentioned the bee guy. That's another
Lady,
lady, human. The idea being that
be expert.
we want to, the idea is to really focus on the idea of the outdoor. So green spaces, we have a number of town, so the COMCOM and the part of the rec committee already, or it's called the recreation department actually, already have a lot of programs, but it's not, it's more about increasing people's awareness of the green space and more holistic understanding is where we wanted to stay, that more sustainability concept as opposed to, getting more green parks. We actually are pretty decent as it comes to, park spaces and forest spaces and things of that nature. So it's what's the human element of that, making sure we focus on the sustainability elements.
Pocket parks are also a good idea to maybe look into, creating some of those around town. Where we may not have as much green space.
What was that?
Pocket parks?
Pocket parks. So that
Yeah.
was when we talked about it, when you look at the actual amount of green space in the town. I mean, I actually wasn't even aware of the town forest that it existed, but the question would be more if we wanted to look at those types of things, pocket parks is, what would the utilization be? Would people actually, engage? So we'd probably want to do a little bit of, community outreach if we were going to engage on that type of thing.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next is green business.
Yeah. So we got some enthusiastic responses both from Erin Kilkinda in town and from the Recycling Works MA, which is a statewide resource. They had some feedback and a bunch of resources about ways that you can help businesses, mostly on the waste reduction side. That's sort of their jam. So we have some good resources we need to work through in our meeting next week. One thing that came up that's sort of worth flagging, especially if folks have ideas, is Erin mentioned that there's a pool of funding that the Economic Development Council is going to be working through in the economic development sphere, and that supporting green businesses could be an element of that. Perhaps if there was a way that we wanted to sort of propose some aspects of the green business program that they could help support. So we're going to try to turn around a quick suggestion on whether any of these elements would require some funding. Ideas welcome. Again, we're meeting next week.
Is the Economic Development Council a town thing or a state thing? What is the?
It's a fairly new, I believe, official town committee council. And I don't recall the exact amount, but I believe they're given a pool of money out of the ARPA funds for economic development. So if greening some businesses is part of that, which we could make a case for, we could help move that along.
Who did you say was on that council?
Well, Aaron Kukinda is the one who brought it up, but I don't know who else is on the council besides Aaron. I'm sure it is on the town website though. Other than that, we're just, continuing to work through feedback from the various town folks that we've talked with. And then we'll hopefully be ready to roll it out as a pilot. We're going to try to find neighborhood of half a dozen businesses that want to be in the first round of it to pilot the program. So if you know of businesses that you think would be particularly suited, of all types, we're not trying to sort of pigeonhole on any particular type of business. So if you have ideas, send them to myself and Christina, and we'll be in touch. Christina, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it all.
So what's the timing of the pilot? Do you have one?
Not yet. We're still in the feedback gathering phase. So I think now that we can consolidate that feedback, we'll be able to come up with a planned launch time.
Okay. Sounds good. Next we have updates from our liaisons. We don't have the school committee. Russell, do you have anything from you want to add for students?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No, not really. You covered it all, basically.
Are you involved in the Galvin Green team at all?
No, I didn't get the email, but I haven't reached out yet. I'm planning to do so though.
Okay. Thank
Russell,
you.
what year are you? Do you have another year at the Galvin?
I have two.
Aha. Okay. Well, then you might have to take over the green team if Nathaniel is moving up to the high school. Yeah.
He'll show you the ropes, don't worry. All right, and any updates from DPW?
So we're at 87 rain barrels sold. It closes next week, so pretty good. I was hoping to be over 100, so we'll keep our fingers crossed. We are selling earth machine composters, backyard composters. So we've already sold 10. They will also be picked up on the 23rd, the day the rain barrels are picked up, trying to make it easy for people if they purchase both. Our glasses and cell phone collection is going fairly well. I'm hoping Jen will do some more advertising about it, but I think definitely worth it and probably worth keeping them there for a while. I can just empty the bins and send them, and then it's really a no lift for us, so it seems pretty easy, so that works.
So that
I'm
would
still
be,
trying to,
so
go ahead.
just a question. I think it was originally said it was gonna be ending in June. Are you saying it'll be longer than that?
Yeah, I don't see why not. It's easy. People have been putting stuff right. They put them in right in the bin. It's fairly easy. I've emptied the bin once, each bin once already. So I think if it's successful, why not keep it going?
That's great.
I'm still trying to find a project for the micro grant. I'm running out of time. I talked to the food pantry because that was one on the list. They recently got a donation from the Boston Food Pantry, so they're going to have a new storage unit outside of the Civic Center. So I thought maybe that somehow we could help them with whatever, but they've been pretty lucky with their funding, so they didn't really need us. I talked to Tim. He's actually out. He had hurt his finger, so he wasn't able to do anything yet. So I'm still trying. I have a few days left, so I'll continue to work at it.
What is this microgrid?
It's from the DEP for basically repair, reuse ideas that they're willing to fund. So it can't be, they're not looking for like recycling or composting or anything. They're looking for more of like a repairing and reuse and, you know, keeping things in the cycle instead of throwing them out.
Could we use it toward, I don't know how much it is, toward support for a repair clinic?
Yeah, we had thought about that, but I mean, the grant's for like $10,000 and I don't think we're gonna need a ton of money for that anyways. If we have it in like a public space that doesn't require any money, I don't think it's gonna be like a huge expense, so.
What's the timing? How soon do we have to spend it?
We just have to get the grant in, I think, by next Thursday.
Yeah,
Oh,
they also have
One of my-
they have another deadline in November.
There's
so
another round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I also thought the library of things over at the library, so
I did
that's
pass
my
it
next
to,
time.
I did pass it to the library, the grant
Oh,
information.
awesome. Thank you. And I am working on our RDP grant that's due beginning of June. Last year we got 16,900, so we get $1,300 a point. So we had gotten 13 points last year. I hope to get 14 points this year, but we shall see. So they changed things up, you know, so your program will continue to evolve. So sometimes you get a point last year, but you don't get it this year. So working on that.
And again, you said the letter's too fast, so what's the name of the grant?
It's an RDP, so it's Recycling Dividends Program, and it's run also by the DEP. So they have requirements that your town administrator sends out a letter saying that departments need to buy recycling, like recycling paper. That should always be their first choice when they're purchasing. And then there's other requirements, like we have to provide how much trash and recycling we've done, what programs we have going. So we do all that. That's all been done ahead of time. That was all due January 15th. And then if you meet that requirement, then you're able to apply for the RDP points, which are things like you need to have information on recycling in multiple languages. You need to offer composting by the municipality. So like that's something we don't have now, but we could work towards. There, you know, there's probably 20 categories that you can earn points in. Some
What
you
about
need
the,
some
the
you need
metal
six
and the,
things to
cardboard?
get a point. You know, you have to meet 6 requirements to get a point. It's I can share it with the group if they'd like to see the what the requirements are and if they have any ideas.
Yeah, I would think the metal and the cardboard dumpsters would be good points,
Like,
no?
so that would be like you'd have to do metal, cardboard, and something else. Like they don't make it easy. You do have to work for the points. So a couple years ago, they were giving points for if you offered the like Black Earth, how we did it. We subsidized the starter kits, whatever. This year, that's not a point.
Oh.
This year, you need to have it offered by paid for by the municipality. So they change it up. But I think we'll still do well. And that's about all I have.
Great, thank you. We don't have town council, WMGLD, Sharon?
Sure. So the community solar program, as you know, is up. The solar array is up and running. It's 129 kilowatts. That's dedicated to the program, approximately 75% non-low income and 25% low income. So we received just some numbers here. We received 56 signups, a total of 163 kilowatts were requested, 155 kilowatts to non-low income and only 8 to low income. And the average request was 3 kilowatts. So we are we delayed the start of the program from April 1st to May 1st because the weather, as you know, was pretty bad in April. And so we wanted to kick off the program with a positive generation. And so we'll be doing some additional marketing to low income groups through June. We are looking into, I guess the town has affordable housing and, you know, seeing if the town would take some of the remaining KWs that would be for low income instead of distributing those to the non-low income folks that, you know, where there's higher demand.
You're saying that the
And
town owns affordable
I
housing?
think that, Jen, is that correct? The town owns or pays the utilities on some
The
of
town pays the utility bills, yes, for
on the affordable
some
housing?
housing in town, correct?
Yeah.
That is affordable.
So, Pete,
So they have
Diane
meters,
is gonna
yes.
look into seeing if they would, take some of those remaining kilowatts so that, you know, we can keep that, 75-25 distribution.
Given that there was demand above what you're able to distribute to the non-low income, are you looking for another roof? Or
You know,
Space?
not right now. I mean, actually, we did have some conversations about roofs in general that would be ripe for this kind of project. And there was some discussion on our meeting yesterday about Galvin. I think it's nearing the 10-year mark. So if we would, you know, put solar on it, now would be the time, because if you wait too long, the roof, you know, will need to be replaced.
I think, I know town council was talking about, using ARPA funds for maybe putting solar on the Galvin. I don't know where that is right now.
Actually, Jen,
Yeah,
could you provide an
was
update
not-
on that?
That was not approved. That was not selected. That project was not selected at the March 25th meeting. So it's now going to, I believe that one of the town councilors is going to draft an article for November town meeting to see if the town will vote to put solar on the Galvin and have it be part of the capital budget for the next year.
Okay.
And also, Jen, didn't you mention that there was also some conversation at the town council, the same town council meeting about Forest Glade? There is a structure there, and there was some thought about putting solar on that.
Well,
Forest Glade
they
Cemetery.
basically, yeah, the discussion at the town council meeting was just that relatively, I believe, small building is getting a new roof. There wasn't talk about putting solar on it, but was my idea.
Oh, that was your idea.
That we should look at it to see if it would be, it could be a good candidate. Some of the smaller buildings sometimes can be a little bit easier than the bigger ones, to be honest.
Right.
Well,
because
aren't they
the-
putting solar on the new, facility by the lake, restroom facility?
I don't think they committed to that. I had asked the question, and there was some discussion on the dangers of softballs and relationship to the panels. But a new structure of its size, you would think could handle a few panels.
And were you saying yes?
I know there's been talk of it, and it certainly is going to work in if they can do it. I overheard a meeting that they were talking about it. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, great. And then, you know, the library has a relatively new roof, but it seems like there's a lot of mechanical equipment, other things up there. So I'm not sure what the potential is for solar there, but I think that was a to-do item for I think Pete said he would look into that just to see what the potential is, so we can run that to ground. And then just one more thing about the solar program, community solar program. The ribbon cutting has been postponed. It was supposed to be in May. Unfortunately, Ken Chase had a fall and had to go to the hospital, so, and had surgery, so he's recovering. So hopefully we'll have it in June. We'll have the dedication to him in June. And that's all I have.
So you're turning the reins over to Jen?
Yes. So, last night we had our board meeting, and I've taken up the mantle of the chair position, so asked if anyone was willing to step up and take on the ESC liaison position, and Jen was ready and willing, and so I'm going to hand the reins over to her. But I would like to finish out some of the work that I was doing on the climate action
That's
plan
great.
committee, so I'll do that homework, and then, phase out. I did mention to Jen what we were doing on that committee, and she seemed interested, but I won't speak for her.
Do it, Jen.
Wait, what did you say?
We're
What did I
volunteering you.
The climate action committee work that I was
Yes.
doing, that you seem like you had an interest in taking that over.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely be interested. So I
Okay.
think the only thing is whether you all will have me, but I would be
Definitely.
happy to help out.
Welcome back to the committee, Jen.
Thank you. And just briefly for those who don't know me, because there are a couple of new faces, I was elected to the WMGLD board in 2018. So I've been there 6 years. I was just actually reelected for another 3 years in April. And prior to that, I was actually on the first iteration of the ESC before it was a town board. There was a group called the Wakefield Climate Action Project. So I've been doing environmental work on and off my good portion of my life, and excited to be back in the mix with you. So look forward to meeting you and working with you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And beyond the climate action committee, you're welcome to join any of the other subcommittees in their work if you have the appetite. All the subcommittees are leanly staffed, so we're always happy to have more folks on any of the initiatives.
Great. I appreciate that. Well, I certainly look forward to wearing some buttons saying, ask me about my, and I've got a lot of things that I can add to my shirt. So I look forward to that initiative.
Shirt full of buttons.
Shirt full of buttons.
Well, to that point, I mean, just while you're saying it, that was why I thought we might want to have separate buttons, right? Because if it's a small button and you have more than one, that might, I mean, I guess you could just have multiple buttons, each one you write on a different thing. All right,
Or
never
you
mind.
could just choose your favorite for the moment. Yeah.
Right, there are 480 households, 420 households that could talk about their compost. And there are only 98 households that can talk about their solar panels. So if you have both,
Well,
you
now
should.
now there's another whole bunch who can talk about their community solar participation. So we're getting there.
All right. Thank you. And Sharon, thanks for being our liaison for all this time. We appreciate all the work, and especially with the climate action subcommittee and the specialized code, you were a big help. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Our next meeting is June 13th. Any matters unanticipated? I did have one. We do have some budget money left to spend by the end of June. $182. So could be used towards the buttons, could be used towards something else. If anybody has ideas, let me know. Or let Tiana know.
I could add one on the fly. We had a program through the library to, I think, allow people to borrow energy related devices. And I think that's probably I don't even know whether it's still being done today. But one thing that I had heard that some libraries are doing is actually lending out a portable induction, a single induction cooktop element. And so I don't, obviously there are a lot of different needs that you have, but just wanted to raise that library loan program could be reinstated, and we could have new devices that reflect kind of the current state of technology.
That's a good idea. I don't know what's in the Library of Things currently. I don't know if that's on the library website, is it?
It is. And it's a sort of interesting smattering of things. There's some energy related items. There's some pickleball sets. There are some ukuleles, some binoculars, and some like Chromecast TiVo type of things. Some other stuff, but it's a real interesting diversity of items.
Okay, well, we can look into pricing on that and maybe that's something the library can get that grant for. I don't know, to see how much it costs. Great, anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
Anyone want a second?
Second.
All right, let's go around. Tiana,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
Lily.
Yeah.
Stefan,
Couldn't get to the mute button. Yes.
Anne,
Yes.
and Sharon.
Yes, but oh, Jen, are you going to be taking on the mantle next meeting, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.